Another week has begun, so that means it's Money Monday. And today we're talking building wealth no matter your income level.
Yeah, and we've called our friends at Creative Planning, which manages over $340 billion worth of assets, to get the scoop. And here to demystify all things wealth is Managing Director of Creative Planning, Mark Doman. Thanks so much for being here, Mark.
Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we said across all levels, right? So how should people, no matter what level of money that they're making, how should they approach building wealth?
The very first thing is financial literacy. What I always advocate is that you want to have that learning curve match that earning curve. And if you can get people to be financially literate, understanding the concepts of how to build wealth in a basic way is pretty self-evident.
So what advice do you have for people who are trying to figure out, okay, well, when should I or can I splurge, and when should I start saving?
Well, I always start with the basic question of not could I buy this thing, could I splurge? It's about should I? Meaning maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't at all. Or maybe it's not no, it's just not yet. Maybe you're spending the profit from your investments down the road and getting the thing you want to splurge on.
You know, and investing can be really scary for a lot of people, especially if you're more cautious and you want to be careful and you don't want to risk it too much. What are some of the investments that we should be looking at?
Well, look, one of the safest investments you can make is simply buying U.S. Treasuries, which is fixed income. You get a set interest rate. And short of World War III starting, your money is as safe as it can be in the investment world. Another way to look at it, if your investment horizon is much longer, 7, 10 years plus, you can start looking at buying, a low-cost ETF or exchange-traded fund. Which allows you to get a basket of stocks for the entire S&P 500. And if you have an even longer horizon, you can look at real estate, because there's a saying that land is always valuable because God's not making any more of it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Real quick, because you were mentioning this idea of financial literacy. What do you recommend for people? How do they go about even learning that? Are there resources that you can think of?
Absolutely. I would start by looking at books like The Little Book of Value Investing, which is basically a distilled version of how Warren Buffett built his wealth. I would also look at other tools. There's a lot online. You can look at things for even your children. You can look at apps like Greenlight or Acorns Early, where it teaches your children to simply set a budget. It also allows you to put chores on their to-do list.
Oh, that's smart.
It gives them access to a debit card. It gives them access to a very small stock portfolio where, for my own children, I say, what are the products you use? And they say, well, I really like my iPad. I said, well, that's owned by Apple. Do you guys think that Apple is a good company? And they've started to do that at ages 11 and 9.
That's so cool.
It's interesting how it gives children a sense of what value is.
That's exactly right. That's exactly
it's so
right.
hard to teach the little ones that.
Yeah, I mean, my daughter, I tell her she could go spend $7 on a boba drink at Starbucks, or she could put that money into the market and it will be a lot more than $7 down the road, right? So you start small, and the same thing applies to the average adult. You start small, you start to learn, you build those verticals, and if you simply follow Charlie Munger's advice, which is the first rule of compounding your money is to never interrupt it unnecessarily. So don't follow the volatility of the market. Try to avoid the very volatile asset classes such as crypto, NFTs, things of that nature, and you'll find yourself to have a lot more money over the long term.
Yeah, they say when things go like this to look away, right? Isn't that the advice?
Just close your eyes.
I mean, that's when you end up buying. You buy when it's cheap.
That's right.
Absolutely.
There's a famous saying by Warren Buffett, which is, you must be fearful when others are being greedy, but you must be greedy when others are fearful. And that's something that we really focus on at Creative Planning.
Mark, you're such a cool guy. Thank you for being here.
Learned so much.
Yeah, we really did. Thanks so much.
No, my pleasure, guys. Thank you for having me.